Despite a whale selling 80,000 Bitcoins, we just had a phenomenal daily close. In today's quick update, we'll be going over this, going over the recent Bitcoin price action, and of course, taking a look at the liquidation charts. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Just a quick heads up, today's video will likely be a lot quicker because I'm in a little bit of a rush, but I needed to get this update out for you. So what we can see here is that Galaxy Digital announced it executed one of the largest notional Bitcoin transactions in history, selling over 80,000 Bitcoin worth more than $9 billion. And what just happened to the market? Because a lot of people were freaking out as we started to break below $116,000. But we've been talking about this on the channel. It would be an excellent longing opportunity as we approach the bottom of this range and as we also touch on that CME gap, which we just wicked into. And it wasn't just a CME gap, it was also a daily fair value gap. When we tap into these levels, we tend to get very strong moves in the opposite direction. And what you can see here is we came back down, seeing a very solid bounce as I'm recording this video. Everyone was freaking out that Bitcoin was going to dump and that the bear market is here. But I kept on telling you, I really think here that it was a great opportunity to go long. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. What am I analyzing here? Because you can see that we tapped into the bottom of this range. Now we are back towards the top of this range, right below $118,000 as I'm recording this video. To me, I still think we go higher. I am still in a Bitcoin long. We're in some nice profits right now, but I just want to wait until we get a proper breakout from here, because we have to also talk about the other scenario that most people probably don't want to address, and that is not maybe a confirmed breakout or a confirmed breakdown, but continued chop within this range before we get the move to the upside, which is still my base case. So to be clear, I still think that Bitcoin will be moving higher from here. I thought that this was just a massive fake out to the bottom of this range, and it was a super opportunity to add to the Bitcoin longs. We had the confluence between the range lows, the daily fair value gap, and of course, tapping into that CME gap, making for an excellent opportunity. By the way, if you want to trade with me, you have the links in my description down below. The second link brings you directly to Bluffin, which is one of my favorite exchanges. The reason I'm talking about this one is because they have a massive promotion for the first 100 users that go ahead and sign up with my link and make a deposit to start trading. You can see all of the terms and conditions here. You can see by this chart here that you can earn up to $1,000 completely for free for trading as you normally would. It would only require a $7,000 deposit, but if that's a little bit out of your budget, you can also deposit lower amounts and still get some fantastic bonuses. So make sure to sign up. That is the second link in my description down below. And yes, if you already signed up with me on this exchange, you can take advantage of this opportunity. Again, the first 100 users. Also, I do have my free Telegram community. Once again, I'm providing as much updates as possible there on a daily basis outside of my YouTube videos. And I also have my premium group, which I go ahead and share some of my most active positions in crypto, how I'm navigating this market. So if you want that kind of guidance, it's also completely free. First link in my description down below. Message me the word premium and I would be happy to onboard you into my group. Now, back to the Bitcoin chart. Base case is still higher. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about here. We can have some fake outs in both directions, and this is what makes this range a little bit tricky to navigate. But either way here, I do think that we will likely see Bitcoin dominance continue to increase. Now, can we break down from this 60% level? Yes, that is a possibility, and you can see that this candle did eventually wick out, and it's still a green candle, but as we're in this range, altcoins can definitely continue to show relative strength, which, if you've been watching the channel, has been my base case. So long as we stay in here, it's highly likely that altcoins can still stay strong against Bitcoin. But once we have the breakout, or the breakdown for that matter, that is when Bitcoin dominance will likely soar. And just to make myself clear, because I know that some of you get stressed out when I say if Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin dominance will be going up, but this isn't necessarily a bad thing. As I have been covering on the channel, we want Bitcoin to move higher and higher and higher and consolidate around these levels, as you can see my beautiful drawing from the previous video, so altcoins get an even better altcoin season. Imagine if we just consolidate here and this is just distribution and then Bitcoin dumps. Well, that wouldn't have been a very good altcoin season. And as you can tell on the Bitcoin dominance chart, this is quite pathetic if it were to be the true altcoin season. What we're looking for, I'll repeat myself once more, is something like this. 4 to 6 weeks of very strong performance from altcoins against Bitcoin as we approach the end of the cycle. I still don't think we're there yet. I still think Bitcoin will likely move higher. And at that point, we can start considering an altcoin season. Now, my exposure to the altcoin market right now is specifically in Ethereum. And the reason being, we've been seeing some very strong performance from Ethereum, a huge pump here. I think that as soon as we break past $4,000, it's inevitable that we will be moving much higher and setting a brand new all-time high this cycle for ETH. And as you know, we've been covering on the channel, we held support right around the 2019 level. So it was always likely that we were going to get a bounce for ETH against Bitcoin. Now, can we come back lower here and maybe form a little bit of a higher double bottom? Of course, that is a possibility, but right now I'm very happy to have swapped some of my Bitcoin into Ethereum because we are seeing some outperformance from Ethereum. That being said, there are also some select outperformers. You can see that Sui had a massive pump this past 7 days, and we're seeing some pretty strong performance considering Bitcoin's dump and then another pump. The reason I want to bring this up is because I know that some of you want me to start touching on some altcoins, which I'm happy to do so, even though most of my portfolio is in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I will make sure to keep you updated as I start shifting things around. But right now, very happy with my positioning, very happy with how the market is going, and I'm definitely pleased to see here that we held on to the lows and we got a very, very strong bounce. Now, can we finally get the breakout, or is it going to be another brutal week where we have basically Bitcoin continuing to range and chop, 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 chop until we get the breakout? Let's see what happens. Only time will tell. Last thing I wanted to cover in today's very, very quick update is, of course, the liquidation heat maps. You can see that there is some liquidity built up to the upside, but we did get some people going ahead and adding to their longs. Now, I am part of this group that added to my Bitcoin longs. I started adding right around 115.9K. Didn't catch the exact bottom, but you can see that right now that Bitcoin is sitting just below $118,000. It is in some solid profits. Now, what I really want you to pay attention to, which is very, very positive and bullish in my opinion, is the fact that over the past 7 days, since we had this drop, we saw a lot more shorts enter the market. And this is exactly what we want to see for further upside, because these short liquidations would be fueling a massive squeeze in Bitcoin. And something that I really want to show you here on the 30-day time frame as we wrap up this video is the fact that more and more shorts are entering the market. Now, we cannot neglect the fact that there are still more longs in the market from much lower valuations. That is fine. But as I said, if we start to see this continue to crawl up, which we have been seeing over the past 7 days, then ultimately, as more shorts enter the market, this is a very, very positive environment to see some further upside. Normally, though, we do come down, liquidate some longs, then go ahead, liquidate some shorts. I still think that Bitcoin will be moving higher, and what I really want to see here is hopefully more shorts pile into the market. This is exactly what happens. When Bitcoin starts dumping down to the bottom of this range, a lot of people pile into shorts, predicting that the market is over. But as you know, my base case here is that the market is certainly not over. Bitcoin will be putting in a brand new all-time high in my opinion, and hopefully it is much higher than $125,000, because at that point, when we start consolidating, when we start distributing, that is when we can have a true altcoin season. I know a lot of you are waiting for that. And that sums up today's quick video. We had a lot of confluence for Bitcoin right at the fair value gap, right at the CME gap, and right at the bottom of this range to provide an excellent long setup, which we've been talking about on the channel. I still think that Bitcoin moves higher from here, but we could continue to chop around, shaking out a lot of traders. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I hope you all have a lovely weekend, and I will see you in tomorrow's update.